His fitness for office is a major issue here.
Not too old, but too old and doesn't have the memory. Comes across as a general old man with no memory.
He was forgetting names, stumbling over basic thoughts, all the telltale signs of dementia's onset.
What part of his cognitive decline do you think they missed, or did they purposely cover for him, in your view?
Well, they cover for him, and they still are sort of covering, but now it's getting very difficult to do that.
Yeah, eventually it gets difficult to cover for this sort of thing. And eventually we will reach that for the right wing when it comes to Trump. But they're still pretending not to see the issues as his cognitive decline continues to accelerate. Not only in terms of his slower speech and falling asleep at all sorts of different events and forgetting names, having no idea what's going on around him and having to be led around both physically and mentally, but also the new like physicals he's having, I guess, every 3 months. Like this is starting to add up and it doesn't look good for Trump or for the media that's covering for him. But I want to dive into some of that recent evidence. Some of it was quantified recently by the New York Times in their article, Shorter Days, Signs of Fatigue, Trump Faces Realities of Aging in Office. And I found this to be fascinating because we've all seen Donald Trump mixing up names or forgetting facts or seeming to think that it's the 90s again, but that's all like anecdotal. What about like statistical evidence of his like more sleepy down persona? Well, we actually have that. So he has held fewer public events on his schedule and is traveling domestically much less than he did during his first year in office in 2017, although he is taking more foreign trips. He's also keeping a shorter public schedule than he used to. Most of his public appearances now fall between just noon and 5 p.m. on average. He used to mock Biden specifically for not having events at night, and now he's capping out. Apparently back in 2017, that was a comparable first year of a term, but in his first term, he scheduled events started on average at 10:31. By contrast, it's now 12:08, near an hour and a half of time where I guess it's just his executive TV time is just stretching out right now, but he's not doing it in the morning like he used to. His events end on average around the same time as they did during his first year of his first term. So it's not like they're just shifting things back. It's actually quite a bit less total time. And in terms of his official public appearances, they've decreased by 39%. Back in 2017, he held nearly 1,700 official events between January 20th and November 25th. For that same time period this year, he appeared in just 1,029 official events. A 39% drop is pretty significant. Significant enough that even Donald Trump had to address it, albeit with lies. He posted this saying, "The creeps at the failing New York Times are at it again. I did all this great stuff, blah, 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 won the election, blah, 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 blah. And then all this great stuff. Stock market, I settled 8 wars or 12 wars or 30 wars or whatever it is that he did, and evidently did it in his sleep. So it's even more impressive." He says inflation's gone, which it's not. "To do this requires a lot of capital W work and capital E energy, and I've never worked so hard in my life. Yet despite this, they do a hit piece that I am perhaps losing my capital E energy, despite facts that show the exact opposite. They know this is wrong, as is almost everything they write about me, blah, blah, blah." Attacks the individual reporter, wants people to go after Katie Rogers, I guess. That's a lot of fun right there. And then he concludes with, "There will be a day when I run low on energy. It happens to everyone. But with a perfect physical exam and a comprehensive cognitive test," that's the dementia test that he took. It's not like an IQ thing. "It was aced, just recently taken. It certainly is not now, blah, blah, blah." So a little bit defensive right there. But the reason he's responding to it is that there's just a lot of stuff out there that doesn't look good for him. This was recently making the rounds on social media. This is Joe Biden looking like he's having fun out at lunch or something. God, I don't know what kind of shape he's in, but Trump is, he's a picture of health right there. He's been doing P90X, I think. But anyway, in terms of cognitive health, some people notice that his recent attempts to like brand things and name things aren't as sharp and witty as they once were. He posted this on True Social. "There is a new word for a Trump Republican, which is almost everyone. Great policy is the key." Yeah, everybody loves his policies these days. "Is it Tepublican or T-Publican?" No, that's What? That's terrible. That's what you've got? You gave 2 tries at it, they were both bad? Not just me saying that. The cultists in his replies were like, sir, you need to fire whoever came up with this. The obvious choice is Trumplican, which also sounds terrible, but is far better than what he came up with. But like, Chad, Trump came up with it. If you want the person who came up with it fired, it's your dude. JR, what do you think?
I was literally just thinking that every time they have to admit something he does or says is ridiculous, they have to then blame it on some kind of staffer. The staffer who told you to post this while you're on the can apparently needs to be fired. Bro, they can't let anything land on him, even when they want to disagree with him. Sir, whoever told you to fix your face, to say the things that you say in front of cameras needs to be fired. It's him, bro. Hey, it's him. Also, if you ever need any kind of indication or confirmation that everything that's written about in this article is true, understand the fact that Donald Trump has to respond to it because it hit. He's like, oh God, it's like they called out my entire day and point out what's wrong with me. I think I need to respond, especially with that long ass post. You know, he's really struck a nerve, and he's a little bit, his feelings are hurt when someone says the truth about him, and then he has to respond and push all kinds of propaganda and lies. That's how liars work. He has to keep the reality, the false reality of his viewers believing everything that he says alive. So he's like, man, time to lie. All I saw from that was he confirmed it. It's a problem.
100%. We gotta say, dude falls asleep constantly, and why? And again, with the projection, when he was sitting with MBS, like he was talking constantly about how he doesn't fall asleep. Other people do. They say I fall. Why are you talking about it so much?
Exactly.
Why are you so focused on sleepiness? You've got a murderer sitting next to you. You should be more alert than you are right now. That dude could come at you with a hacksaw at any moment.